Guys, welcome back to another video by your
Cobra Big Sisters.
Thank you so much for joining us once again. And continuing on our Women's Month series, today we have a special guest, one of our really good friends, Sandy.
Hi.
So, in this segment of our Women's Month videos, we're going to be talking about the process of going back to school when you've been working and what that journey looks like. And that's why we invited Sandy because she's gone through the same journey. And yeah, Sandy, just introduce yourself, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Dumi. So my name is Sandy. I did an undergrad in economics,
Mhm.
and then I went on to work for roughly 2 years. Um, and during that time, I then decided to do my master's full time, master's in financial technology.
Nice.
So yeah.
Fancy. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Sandy. So I think let's just get right straight into it. So Sandy, why did you decide to go back to studying full time?
So my initial plan was that I wanted to do my master's. It was part of my 5-year plan,
Okay.
and I'd applied at that time. And I had to consider finances in terms of what do I do, not having so many expenses, and also working. Initially, at first, I thought I was going to do it part time and still work. Because as much as the masters in Cape Town, because of COVID, that opportunity of having to study at home online, I then decided that I'll do both. But then it got really hectic trying to
Yeah.
balance work and school. So
Okay.
eventually just had to let go of work and do my master's full time.
Okay. And tell me, like, when you got the offer, obviously you applied, then you got the offer to actually, like, that you've been accepted. What was going through your mind at that time? Because you were obviously working. So, how did you go about weighing up whether to accept the offer, actually do it full time or part time? Like, what was going through your mind at that time?
Okay. So it all happened so fast because I just applied. I think the last week of applications, I just
Yeah.
applied and I had no plan in terms of funding and all of those things. So because I knew it was something that I wanted to do, I started looking into what kind of program do I want to go into. And with COVID and online classes, it really happened so fast. And then when I got the offer, and then I had to read things like, oh, now I need to start looking for funding, start applying for funding, looking for places that were still open at the time that are available for funding. I also had to talk to my current employer about the possibility of studying part time as well as funding, because if you are going to do both, you are going to need that support from your employer and for them to understand that. Because I did work in an environment where you had to go to client side, and so how do you negotiate that and work around that in
That
terms
would have
of
been tricky.
because if I have exams in Cape Town and then you send me to Limpopo,
client.
it doesn't make sense. So I had to talk to employer. I also had to talk to family in terms of what happens if my life changes drastically, especially like the financial implications of everything.
That's my biggest fear. Yeah, same. The
So-
money aspect.
Um, and at the time, I hadn't really saved up for the whole thing. So I really like, if you have to consider that, you have to think about the money having to save. And then when I did do the masters full time, when I did do the masters and the work, my lease had just ended in Joburg, so I was like, I can at least be at home because I can work from home, save on that,
money.
save that money.
Yeah.
So you make a lot of changes to your life, and save that money, and like even small things. I know at the time my gym membership was going to come to an end in May, and now I paid like roughly 500 rand, and I had to change like this gym 500 rand. I'll go locally for like 100 rand. So like those small little things changes that you have to make.
Sure.
And when I decided to drop and do it full time, at the time I hadn't secured funding, so that supports that. Okay, so what am I going to do when I'm at home? The money that I currently have saved up, how long is it going to last me? And if I need to be in Cape Town, then I have to call up friends and be like, yo, can you host me for a week because I'm here
Yeah.
to write exams. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, I think for me, I won't lie, the financial aspect would probably be
Yo,
the
it's a
hardest
big
part.
one, hey.
Like foregoing a salary that you know you're getting every month to just like now nothing, or even getting a little stipend is like so different. Like your life
Yeah.
has to change so much.
Yeah.
But I think leading on to the next thing, like now looking back, what advice would you give to, I mean, yourself as well, and someone else planning on going back to study or doing it part time or full time?
I would say properly plan.
Yeah.
I don't think you can fully plan around because there's so many aspects to consider. Apart from financial, you also have to consider your employability. In terms of
Yeah.
having to go back
It's a
to
big
work
one.
Yeah.
and stopping and studying, how do you have that conversation with people when you go back to work? Um, and so that was a very, I had only considered financial and I made plans for that. And I was fine with minimizing my life just to go ahead and pursue the masters. And looking back now, I am really grateful that I was able to just take a step back in terms of lifestyle that I've accustomed myself to study.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think we've touched on some of the behind the scenes or what you would have done before. I'm really interested to hear about the actual journey of your studies. Like, how was that? Was it worth it? Would you do it again?
Yeah, I
Tell
know.
us a little bit about
And your
that.
degree sounds so exciting, like masters in financial technology.
Yeah.
Like, even like a little taste on what is it about?
Oh, actually, going back, the another thing is because financial technology is very data science heavy, it was also another consideration for moving from working and studying to full time because with the background in economics, now you're going into a whole new different field. You're learning something
Sure.
new. It's gonna take you time. Whereas people that are coming from maybe engineering backgrounds, because you do get people that come from engineering backgrounds or computer science as well within the
Yeah.
program. It's going to take me longer to understand the understand
Adjust.
the terms and everything that they do, but I have been exposed to really international, global,
Yes.
networks as well.
Okay.
And I've had opportunities to one go on a study trip where
Wow.
went to Switzerland, and
That's
then
so cool.
and then I attended a blockchain conference earlier this year in Barcelona.
Ooh, damn.
So all of those small things really made up for it, and also getting funding like in the middle of my degree,
It's
because
amazing.
that really one of the highlights because it does relieve a lot from you in terms of financially as well. I also had conversations with students that had done the degree previously, and in terms of funding, as much as I stopped working without funding, I had conversations with people in terms of what happens in terms of funding, and there was a big chance that I will get it within the program. So,
Sure.
I was hoping on that. Obviously, it's not certain. So, if it doesn't happen, then I would have to make a plan. But it is a conversation that I had prior, leading up to making the decision to stop working full time. And you speak to people in the program, and there's so much funding with regards to the research that's being done in South Africa around blockchain and all of those things. So and also my network gave me the opportunity that I am going into now.
That's
So
Okay.
so really, I made the good decision at that time. So I'm really happy with
Seems
that.
like it was worth it.
It really
So,
was.
yeah.
Okay, so let me change positions.
Okay, flip
Let me
the
ask
script.
you
Wow.
guys a question.
It's our channel.
Yeah. Have you guys considered furthering your studies?
Oh, sure.
Oh.
I can go first on
Okay,
this
go
one.
ahead.
Yes, definitely I have. I definitely want to do my MBA. That's something that I've been really, really thinking about. I did consider a master's, but I think currently having worked for like 4.5 years almost, like I think I'd like to do an MBA. I find it quite interesting, and specifically abroad.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's like one of the biggest things that I want to do. And definitely, I think just like you, full time. this business of half in, half out, personally, my job is very demanding. So trying to do a part-time MBA would just be, I think, a lot on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've also definitely considered it a master's for sure. And I always just, stutter, like, because I have gotten an acceptance before, but I'm always just so scared of foregoing my salary, like you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, and even things like funding as well. But I think this conversation has been so enlightening that even if you have those worries or concerns, that it will end up working out if it's something that you're passionate about and as a part of, like you said, like your 5-year plan. So who knows? We'll see what the future holds. Maybe
Yeah.
the next few years I'll be here sitting with the masters.
Yeah.
And actually, we're already doing something about it because
Yes.
this week, right?
Yeah.
Actually, tomorrow, but obviously, we'll be going to that MBA tour. And it's basically just us to learn more about the different schools out there, funding opportunities, but we'll definitely like show you guys
For sure.
what happened there. So yeah, please
That's a
do
proper
stay
plan.
tuned.
And let us know if any of you guys, have ever thought about doing a master's, or if you have any questions for Sandy.
Or
you
any
know.
type of post-grad studying actually, like
Yeah.
let us know, hit us up, and we'll definitely be open to touching more on those topics.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've come to the end of our video, and thank you so much, Sandy, for joining us. Like, I personally learned so much. I
Yeah.
hope that you guys also learned a lot from watching this video.
Thank you for having me. Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you. So don't forget, guys,
As always,
your corporate big sisters are here to help you secure the bag.